down. For the second straight year, these ball clubs will be doing battle right here in the Meadowlands Arena in a game that has all the pomp and circumstance of an NCAA tournament game. Now, one would think Seton Hall would be just a little inspired today, mindful of his 29-point spanking at the hands of the Tar Heels last season. My partner is the one-time Seton Hall coach, Bill Raftery. And Bill, what about last season embarrassment by the Pirates? I mean, is it a thing of the past or is it a nagging memory?
Both of us can relate. We've been dealt big defeats in our lifetime, but one thing, clubs don't forget, it was only a year ago, so PJ would like to play a lot better.
Both of these squads have impressive 7-footers in the middle. Eric Montross of North Carolina playing his best ball today. And Luther Wright of Seton Hall has lost 40 pounds, and he's a lot more mobile. But the key could be how well these ball clubs are run from the backcourt.
You would sneak the weight in there. As important as size is, you need choreographers. Danny Hurley runs the show for Seton Hall, has done a nice job organizing. He will be tested today. On the other end, Derek Phelps, the extension of Dean Smith. He gets these big fellas in a spot where they can do some damage offensively and coordinates the defense.
Ought to be a good game, certainly on paper. It'll be the pressure defense and up and down style of North Carolina against the physical play and control play of Seton Hall. When we come back, we'll bring you the starting lineups. 29 on hand here this Sunday afternoon to watch this rematch between North Carolina and Seton Hall. North Carolina's Dean Smith and his squad won it handily last year, 83-54. Dean Smith in his 31st year at North Carolina. And the front court, a good one. George Lynch, Eric Montross, the big man in the middle, and Brian Reese. Reese, the local guy. And the backcourt, Derek Phelps, really running the show very smoothly. And Pat Sullivan from nearby Bogota, New Jersey, getting the start in place of Enric Rodel, something that Dean Smith does whenever he plays in the local area of one of his players. P.J. Carlesimo, in his 11th season at Seton Hall, has built a very solid squad, expecting them to do quite well. They're right on track with a record of 15-2. And his front court, Arturas Karnišovas, Luther Wright, the big man in the middle, and Jerry Walker, who is sky high for this one. Terry DeHare, the All-America candidate, playing quite well, and Danny Hurley, the sophomore guard, playing a lot in place of the injured Brian Caver.
Jerry Walker pumped up as he went out there, slapped George Lynch.
Carolina playing extremely well this year, doing quite well on the scoring end. And Billy, as we take a look at the team matchup, statistically seems to favor clearly Carolina.
Well, when you look at Carolina, they do score a lot of points. Seton Hall can't afford to turn the ball over. That three-point percentage, I think Seton Hall's going to have to hit it, but take a lot more.
The officials for today's contest, Donnie Gray.
Hard and as enthusiastically, and this man would be
There's Jerry
power
Walker
in that statement.
And power personified there is 6'7", 245 pounds, the senior out of Jersey City, as is the case with Danny Hurley, Jersey City, St. Anthony High School player as well.
Luther Wright has to stay out of foul problems. Inexperienced compared to Eric Montross, and a great low post guy who begs for the ball, Eric, and they deliver.
In polite fashion. And we're underway, controlled by the Pirates of Seton Hall. This is Danny Hurley at the point along with Terry DeHare.
Carolina man-to-man.
Luther Wright handling the ball.
Perfect trap spot, JB.
And that's something Seton Hall did a lot of last year, turned the ball over 20 times as Sullivan goes in, and it's a blocking foul called on Danny Hurley. P.J. Carlesimo indicated protecting the ball is probably the #1 thing his squad has to do, and they start off turning it over.
JB, yesterday we both were saying you can't simulate Carolina's pressure in practice. They address the trap. If you get it below the foul line, you've got to make a quick decision, and you've got to post and help out people. The free safety, Derek Phelps, picks off a lot of cross-court and balls back to the top of the key area.
Pat Sullivan, a junior from nearby Bogota, New Jersey, about 10 to 15 minutes away from here, having his finest season to date as a Tar Heel. And he cans the first 2 free throws. Tar Heels on the board, 2-0.
All situations, they'll throw a new look at you. On a free throw, a little full court pressure. You get it over, they'll continue the trap. They're going to take these threes. Karnišovas, a 41% three-point shooter. Seton Hall man-to-man. Seton Hall will take the three-pointer.
Montross going up strong and is fouled underneath, and he is an absolute monster. That time, Danny Hurley was the one who assessed the foul, his second personal.
That changes things for Carlissimo. You get down there and help out and scrape. They had good assistance. It wasn't necessary for Danny, but you love your guards go down and scrap. He's going to have to play now flawlessly. Caver, who had been a starter, has a terrible ankle situation, responding slowly.
Dean Smith looking at Eric Montross, who really has improved by leaps and bounds each year. Awfully strong, second leading scorer and rebounder on the Tar Heel squad. Rebound controlled by Phelps.
They're great on missed free throws, rebounding. You have to be alert.
Reese looking for Sullivan. Regains the loose ball.
Very quick to the ball right now, Carolina. Motion, back screens, lock lows.
Sullivan down low, pump fake. And rebounded by Luther Wright. Wright did not enjoy a good game last season, 0 for 2 from the floor. And a poor shot, Wright trying to follow, rebounded by Montross.
Secondary break.
Lynch, George Lynch.
If they don't get it at first, they hit the top and run some screens for Montrose down to the box. You can't relax after you stop the initial thrust.
That was a clear indication of how and why North Carolina is averaging 92 points a game.
They get it all. They feed off this D.
Rebounded by Montross. Carolina limiting the Hall to one shot. Phelps. Derek Phelps has really grown into an all-around guard. Doesn't look for a shot as much as he probably should, but does a nice job as a floor general. And
right
yet
now,
another turnover.
Press extremely effective. Not able to post up, throwing errant passes.
Ryan Caver into the game, replacing Danny Hurley. Hurley has 2 personal fouls.
They switch the pressure points. This one's three-quarter, JB, causing the deep pass. You've got to come to the ball against Carolina. Seton Hall retaliating with one of their own presses.
Ryan Caver defending Derek Phelps. Caver, as we mentioned before, very bad sprain of that left ankle. And has missed quite a few games. Has been back in action about the last 3.
Can't gamble. They turn it into good goals, good shots.
Phelps off the mark, rebounded by Wright. Mr. Wright with the strong hands. A 7-3 Carolina lead. Walker. Wright with the follow and foul. Montross, number 1.
You've got to use the dribble against Carolina. The problem, James, playing against Dean Smith, and unfortunately I did, is that you don't see this type of defense all year long. It's a little like the run and shoot in football. You're not used to it. You can't get ready for it in a couple of days. They distract, they distort, they take you out of what you plan. If you're a predictable offense, it's to their benefit. They disrupt your flow.
Wright with a nice touch. Only a 52% free throw shooter. But he cans the first as Enric Rodel comes in for North Carolina. Rodel, the normal starter. But as we mentioned, Sullivan from nearby, Pagoda, New Jersey, got to start today.
From Pagoda to Germany, Huizenstamm. He presents another dilemma for Seton Hall. The inside-out game now with more impact. They can spot up. If there's nothing going on the box, they'll kick it out to Rodel and Phelps.
And Rodel is deadly from outside. 54% field goal shooting. Lynch, dangerous down low. Montross, rebounded after the block by Luther Wright. 4 rebounds by Wright.
JB, the 2 Warriors, Lynch and Walker.
Inside pass attempted to Wright, who couldn't find a handle.
Nice help by Lynch. Disrupted.
Well, Lynch has been disrupting an awful lot to play this season. Leading steal maker on the Carolina Ball Club with 38.
He's one of those silent contributors.
Montross, nice move. And a foul on the help out that time by Karnisovas. Montross does such a nice job of positioning that big body down low and even holding off a strong guy like Wright.
What's extremely important in that whole sequence is they empty out the backside. So if you want to front, the lob can't be attacked unless you come down from the foul line in a quick fashion. Well-designed play.
Carnish is taking a seat on the bench. Adrian Griffin, a freshman out of Wichita, Kansas, in the lineup for Seton Hall.
And he gives them another stroke. Good outside shooter. Sneaky on the glass.
You know, Montross quite candid also about his development, saying he thought coming out of high school he would be able to step in and make a big impact, but he realizes it takes 2 years to learn Dean Smith's system.
We asked Dean yesterday about Montross. He's really come along maybe more than anybody you've ever had. He said, how about Michael Jordan? He improved under our program.
#1 on the list. And Griffin is called for traveling. Good hustle by Brian Reese. 4th turnover by Seton Hall, and keep in mind, as I mentioned last year in this matchup, Seton Hall turned the ball over 20 times. Carolina forcing 17 turnovers on the season.
Seton Hall averaging around 15 a game. You must value the ball any evening, but against Carolina, it's essential. It usually turns into a goal.
Even more so. Inside to Lynch. Now, Lynch does a nice job down the blocks, Billy, but folks are talking about the next level. He's got to do it from the wing.
Well, they feel that his jump shot is something that they'd like to see more of, but they get easy shots at Carolina. He doesn't have the opportunity. Good screening, gets them open on the box.
DeHare being defended nicely by Rodel. DeHare would love to get untracked here. Only 3 of 22 from the floor last season. He'd like to show better.
Trying to run the little dip-in set.
Off the mark for DeHare, rebounded by Griffin, goes up strong. And it's for the basket.
Seton Hall felt they could get offensive rebounds. Sneaky on the glass. I'll say the kiss, friendly for Griffin.
Friendly?
They're going to have to get the jump baskets, things that are not going to come directly out of their offense. They're going to have to dribble by guys. They're going to have to get offensive rebounds, the quick hitters whenever possible.
And the free throw by the Kansas State Player of the Year, Adrian Griffin, draws the Hall to within 2. Smith's ball club off to his best start since 86-87 at 15-1. We asked him, what did he like most about this season, Billy? And, of course, he always talks about defense.
That's the name of the game in Carolina. If you don't guard, you don't play. Mike O'Corn, who went on to the Nets and is a radio analyst, said in yesterday's practice, you make mistakes on D, you don't see the floor.
As a matter of fact, I actually cheated Dean Smith out of a year. He's been there 32 years as opposed to 31.
He won't mind at all.
I don't think so.
The only time he gets offended by a number is on the golf course.
Serious competitor. Inside to Lynch. Blocked. And a foul called on Jerry Walker, who thought he had all ball. Jerry Walker picks up his first personal foul.
These are guys that played like you. 2 competitors that don't give much room, will bang the bodies. They get a little gratification out of bulking up and knocking one another down. That time Walker thought he had all ball.
And Walker says he loves the Big East style of play. I want to leave a game with bruises and cuts, he says.
He likes those playgrounds where you don't call fouls. It's a sign of weakness.
Donald Williams coming into the lineup for Carolina, replacing Derek Phelps. Donald Williams, an outstanding long-range shooter.
And can put it on the floor. So now you've got that added dilemma. Another pretty good stroker deep. So they bang you inside. Montross in the game now to contribute at that end, and they can dump it out for the deep range.
And Montross comes in to replace George Lynch. So Dean Smith going to the bench. Montross, Rodel, Sullivan, Kevin Salvadori, and Don Williams, the 5 in blue on defense for Carolina. There's that double teaming you were talking about. Billy, you're right. It really is awfully difficult to simulate that intensity of the Carolina defense, but what's the benefit of that trapping defense of Carolina?
Well, the size, you can't see the floor. If guys don't bust in the cut and position themselves, they're going to get a turnover, or at least a 5-second count.
Second personal call on Kevin Salvadori.
JB, they trap everything. Inbounds pass, nothing is for free. The days of 3 out with Carolina are long over.
And a blocking foul called against Eric Montross. Now we understand why P.J. Carlesimo had Luther Wright handling the ball in practice and being double teamed to get a feel for it.
Well, it's the easiest guy of all to get yourself free. Luther's a terrific passer. He understands the game. It's a gamble on a trap. That time.
Second personal on Montross, 2 on Salvadori for Carolina.
And Dean got up, didn't like that call.
And DeHare still can't find the mark. DeHare yet to score in the ball game. 14:30 left in the first half as Wright knocks it out, and it's a 12-8 UNC lead.
Terrific job defensively, 3-quartering. Earlier they lobbed on Luther, couldn't get the support.
Salvadori at 7 feet, a very mobile 7-footer for Carolina. Excellent shot blocker.
Screen away, lock your guy. Salvadori, pretty good low post player, as is this guy, either hand.
Rebounded by Griffin. This is Caver.
They would like to penetrate. Nice trap.
Stolen by Sullivan.
They use the sideline. They use half court. Anytime you're there, they'll put 2 guys on the ball.
Salvadori. Rebounded by Karnisovas. 5 turnovers for Seton Hall. The Hall trailing by 4. And again, I go back to the point we made at the top, Billy. Very important for Seton Hall to protect the ball.
And what they're doing little things, this little pick and roll, something they added for this game. Nice hustle. You can't relax with Carolina.
You know what? It's nagging kind of defense, Billy.
They do not back off. PJ putting a few wrinkles in to get guys free.
Changes on the floor for Carolina. Now have George Lynch, Eric Montross, Brian Reese, Derek Phelps, Donald Williams on the floor in blue for North Carolina. Nice pass. Karnisovas kisses it in. And it's a 12-10 North Carolina lead. 13-25 left in the first half of play.
I think we'd get free if Luther, who deflects there, was screening for us. He could move some people. Coming of age. Had to sit out. Rough year last year, trying to learn this year. Getting the minutes. They've got confidence in him. They go to him on offense, and he is a kid who has a lot to learn, but pays attention.
That being, of course, Luther Wright, and the pros are really intrigued with not only the size and mobility, but potential. Montross. Eric Montross having to change the arc on his shot, trying to go over the other 7-footer, Luther Wright.
How about the 3-second lane being owned by Montross? He pinned Luther right under the 10. It's unfortunate for Carolina. He wasn't able to convert.
Luther doing a nice job defensively thus far. Montross 0 for 4 from the floor.
Good shooter, as you mentioned. You got to stay at home. Opens up passing lanes.
Blocked by DeHare and Wright. Back to Carolina. This is Williams. And Wright again with the rebound. Doing a nice job. 5 rebounds for Luther Wright.
Luther giving him some half.
That Carolina defense making it tough. Out of bounds, Carolina ball. You know, you cannot afford to get caught in the air. The Carolina players are so adept at blocking the passing lane.
They're big, they understand, and they complement from the back. But you notice the dribble has been effective. Caver got out of control, but that's the kind of penetration they've been looking for. You can't do the same thing against Carolina each trip. They read well.
Wright and Caver on the bench, so Jerry Walker at 6'7" now has a 7-foot Eric Montross defensively. Danny Hurley back in the game for Seton Hall as well.
Probably a little more doubling up with Walker playing him.
Lynch. In and out. 7 straight misses for the Tar Heels offensively.
Most offenses predicated on ball reversal. Carolina tries not to let you turn the corner. Here's another turnover.
And yet another turnover, number 7 for Seton Hall. Despite the turnovers, the Hall trailing Dean Smith by only 2.
JB, the low post action. Montrose down low, begging for the ball. Look at the attention. 3 Seton Hall defenders, but the quick feet of Montrose. He doesn't stand still, turns, pins, and in position to do some offensive damage. He continually roams. He's got great feet.
And not only Montrose, all of the Carolina players, that motion offense really can cause problems defensively. You've got to stay focused.
You've got to see the man slide through, help on the pick.
Phelps. Montrose looking for his first field goal, still has not found it.
They got Leahy on the scrape. Seton Hall doing a nice job of attention down low.
They're all guts, all grit, all glory. They're the ones with the right stuff on and off the field. They are Ford's 9th annual All-Madden team later today at 5 o'clock right here on CBS Sports.
I would put Montrose on that team.
Without a doubt.
He hasn't been bagged up yet, but he plays a physical, bruising style.
And I think that kind of coach is the kind of coach Madden would like as well. Intense, always on top of it. PJ Carlissimo.
That's the next half. He switches, hangs the jacket up and gets really into it. A little pressure off the free throw, James. Recognition, the name of the game when you play Carolina. Everybody sees the ball as you progress up the floor. This one's from the guard-to-guard spot. Got away with that.
Barely got away with it. DeHare, finally. First field goal of the afternoon for Terry DeHare.
Montrose so aggressive he ran over Reese on that particular soiree. Luther can't permit low post position. He's got to stay focused, as you mentioned.
A one-point ball game. Lynch makes it 3. A 3-point lead by Carolina. 15-12, 10:45 left in the first half of play. Danny Hurley, Jerry Walker, Terry DeHare, John Leahy, and Luther Wright, the 5 for Seton Hall in white.
Good cut by Hurley. Bailed out the trap on the sideline.
Boy, tough passing on the inside. Those Carolina guys are everywhere, but Walker somehow finds the mark.
Finds a room. And not much in that traffic.
He's big enough to clear him out, though.
He's playing well. Playing very well. Using the bounce to free himself. Getting open shots. All the loose things have been Carolina's.
George Lynch has scored in double figures all 16 games for North Carolina.
Good dish.
DeHare. Phelps. Make this Williams. Attempted to pass over to Phelps. Back the other way.
They put
Pat Sullivan and Road will come in for North Carolina.
James, they put so much pressure on you, Carolina, as they come down the floor. If you respond by matching up, you think you've got the break stopped. All of a sudden, they run their secondary facet with back screens and the big guys out top reversing the ball. He can see and deliver. Eric Montrose.
Leahy and Karnisovas in for Hurley and DeHare. You saw them breathing. That Carolina defense will force you.
You'll need a little respirator on the sideline.
9:30 left in the first half, and it stays down at this end for Seton Hall.
Now, you still treat Dean Smith as though he recruited you.
Every time I see him.
Great respect. Of course, he's upset at Ted Kennedy for winning out. He recruited you for Harvard.
Well, I still consider it an honor that Dean considers me a friend still.
And I'm honored to be seated next to a Harvard grad. I knew I'd end up working for an Ivy League guy. Good luck. First, Dean didn't feel your jump shot would be worth much today.
He said he would have perfected it.
Said you lost a step or two. Again, all man-to-man Seton Hall addressing Montrose when he gets it low, doing a good job sliding through. He's got him down.
And Montrose going up for the slam, can't get it over Wright, and Wright comes away with the rebound. The big fella has 6 rebounds for Seton Hall.
And the big fella for Carolina taking it to the goal.
I love the competitiveness.
Don't you? Well, that's what he has shown this year. They'll take the threes, and this guy can make them.
Karnisovas, the typical European three-point shooter.
And Leahy, another guy who hasn't stroked it as well as this is a new play they put in a pick and roll, and they're not effective thus far.
Stolen by Sullivan. Lynch. 8 turnovers for Seton Hall, and Carolina makes the Hall pay as George Lynch bags a basket. Lynch has 12 first-half points. And a steal by Lynch. Blocked by Walker. And a blocking foul. And a technical call on Dean Smith. Smith wanted that foul with the body of Walker blocking George Lynch's shot, and Dean Smith animated.
JB, he's right. Jerry Walker pushes him out. Great block up here, but the foul is before the block. And you get punished when you're correct. Very tough situation for Carolina. Instead of going to the foul line, wonderful block up top, but Walker knew he was dead with Lynch, and we got the tee for 2.
Leahy with the first.
Game doesn't mean much.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to know if Dean still loves the game and is still involved, a clear indication he absolutely still is.
Just another in-season game out of conference. Meaningless on the surface. One of the great competitors, silently, that time, vociferous. The man can coach.
Left in the first half of play, Carolina on top by 1, and this is the kind of pace, Bill Raftery, that Seton Hall would love to keep the game at.
And you notice right away, any inbounds pass out of a timeout, Carolina will run a trap or pressure at you. Seton Hall will look to score quickly if it shows. If not, they would like to get organized, get in their set. Nice look.
Good open look for Carniship is blocked by Sullivan.
Salvadori over big as well.
You're right, you can split that block between Salvadori and Sullivan.
Well, that's the attention to business that they have. You notice Lynch has made 3 shots in that 6-foot range. And remember yesterday, they drilled on that 6-footer because it's a tough shot. You don't have a complete follow-through. It's in that medium range that you're unaccustomed to making the shot.
Working on game situations.
He can make it too.
Hurley. Strong rebound by Salvadori. This is Roeder. 21-18, Carolina, 6:50 left in the first half of play.
So active. Nice play by Wright. Face the ball. And running the floor. Here he goes. With the right hand, JB. The big fella getting the puppies up and down. Nice gamble by Hurley, but it isn't a gamble because he respects his ability.
That's the benefit of losing 40 pounds in the offseason. You can motor up and down the court.
And you can relate.
Boy, kid. I wish it was a 40-pound drop.
I don't know about you motoring, but you can relate.
Cruising. 21-20. Carolina on top. Sullivan left. Missed. Rebounded by Karnisovas.
Scouting, you know the shooters. Rodel up on Leahy.
Now, Billy, you have to ask the question. You know Carolina is going to trap in the corners. Why continue to dribble into those traps? You know they're coming.
They're going to force you, and what Seton Hall has done is they put guys in position to bail out the trap guy as we look at the game summary.
And Seton Hall in tune defensively, holding teams to 39% defensive field goal shooting on the year, and certainly right on track here. But the 9 turnovers, they've got to do a better job there at Seton Hall.
They do, but I don't know if they'll be able to. They're going to have to rely on good, sound defensive principles, get some occasional quick hoops off a missed shot or a block shot. Wenstrom not as a threat offensively, but still the motion creates good opportunities for them.
And Reese with the opportunity, the follow-through, as Brian Reese gets the follow-through. His first basket. Brian Reese, a local fellow as well from the Bronx, New York.
You know, of all the clubs in the country, the program wins for Dean Smith, too. The names change, but they run the stuff that's going to help them stay in games. They know what they have defensively every evening. The motion on offense, Wenstrom with a nice, soft, tippable shot, and Lynch finished it.
Pat Sullivan picks up the personal foul, his first. Terry DeHare at the free throw line. Karnisovas back in the ball game for Seton Hall, replacing Adrian Griffin. DeHare is an excellent penetrator, but hasn't been able to do that against this trapping and quick Carolina defense.
Oh, there's always assistance, James, and that's what we watched yesterday. They drill, have guys pinch, find someone, and DeHare being such a great outside threat, they're rushing up on him and supporting.
DeHare bags them both. He's got 4 points, averaging 22 points on the season. End of the game, replacing Luther Wright, who gets a well-deserved hand, is Shaka Shipp. And Billy, we were talking with him. His name is actually pronounced T'Chaka, but he says he prefers Shaka.
Well, you will see a guy that you won't have tea with this Chaka Chip. He is aggressive, goes after it. A little 1-3-1. Seton Hall likes to do this on occasion. The wing people have to rebound and get out on the shooters.
And that man specifically.
That's a gamble.
And he is a 50% free throw shooter from three-point range.
With authority. The dribble has been their best weapon, and no support defensively by Carolina. Very unusual. Back to man-to-man. Enough of Williams' jumper, huh?
Well, folks in Carolina wondered who was going to replace Hubert Davis as the shooter. Williams certainly has the ability to, and Reese draws the foul. It will be called on Shipp.
What makes Montrose a nice player, he's unselfish. Early in the year, I saw some tape where he put the ball on the floor and they would attack him. And now, Seton Hall playing smaller, they're trapping to assist Walker, and he doesn't even look at the tin, because defensively he had his problems with the foot speed, and Mr. Walker, who gets sky high for big games, right on the money.
Reese, a 62% free throw shooter, off the mark on the first one. There was some concern. Reese said he didn't even think he had an asthma condition at all in high school until he came to Carolina, when folks were saying that may have been the problem with his stamina. Worked a lot in the offseason, especially aerobic exercises.
Maybe it was the tough drills that they put out there. You get tired, right?
Mike O'Corin telling us yesterday, watching practice, he can relate. Everyone would have asthma.
He got a bag out. Of course, he and Phil Ford reminiscing, reuniting. Getting a chuckle out of Dean. A little mismatch in there, and they go to it. Williams on Walker, but Lynch back now.
Well, you don't have time to make your move. An awful lot of time against Carolina. You got to go up strong and quick. And Shipp loses it out of bounds, goes back to Carolina. 27-24, UNC on top. 3:57 left in the half. Carolina on top by 3, despite the fact that Seton Hall has turned the ball over. Boy, can you believe that? 10 turnovers, and Carolina has scored 10 off of those turnovers. That accounts for Carolina's potent offense, 92 points a game.
And Seton Hall fortunate with those turnovers because of this pretty sound defense. Nice job by Arturas Karnisovas.
Arturas with a good block from behind.
There's a perfect trapping situation. They don't go for it.
DeHare, 3. And it's a 2-point shot by DeHare.
Making them pay for their help side philosophy.
DeHare. And a charging foul called by Donnie Gray against Terry DeHare.
DeHare is not a point guard. He's got the big fella running the floor. Just hesitate a little, fan, and Luther can catch and complete.
And what better way to keep the big guy happy as well.
And right here, we'll just see some dribble penetration, all the weak side help, and the kick, JB. Just extraordinary use of the bounce by the Hall. The kick, the great help is punished with that particular philosophy.
Turnover as Phelps was looking for Montrose. Not a great angle to pass that one in.
Now, P.J. Carlesimo, when he started at Seton Hall, such a great tradition left there by some people. Down in the dumps, quite frankly. And what he did is he coached, and here they get the offensive foul. A nice get back by Phelps. Of course, now you get the the coach is saying, well, the technical help, PJ will be offended. But what he did is he coached when he first came. Now he's a coach. He's got the program to such a sophisticated level to compete with Dean Smith in the Big East. He's one of the big names as well now. When you think of Rowley and Luke Gottesek, as you mentioned on the open, now gone.
That last foul on Caver. Reese can't get the roll. Walker with the rebound.
And Lynch counting the bicuspids, too.
You would.
Yeah, just checking them out.
A 245-pound elbow in your face.
All downstream, still switch.
Caver, the hair, Karnisovas, White, and Walker, the 5 on the floor in white for Seton Hall.
You must get free for the guy with the ball.
Grenade, White.
Of Richie Regan going to the hole and passing to Walker Dukes. Nice clear and back cut.
Jump ball, arrow, the Hall.
Well, if you can't get your guys free, dribble to ecstasy, JB. And the big fella with a send it in. Oh, they are doing a nice job riddling this D of Carolina.
I know someone else who was worked up before this game.
Hey, you mentioned it's an NCAA atmosphere, and it is.
Absolutely.
Two powerhouses.
The Hall with its first lead since the score was 3-2.
A double screen for the wide open jumper. Good.
This was blocked by Phelps. And Phelps can't get the roll. A foul called on DeHare. Coming up on Prudential Securities at the half, Andrea Joyce will be along from Bloomington, Indiana, with scores and highlights, plus a candid talk with Ohio State's Lawrence Funderburk, and a little tribute to a man who reached the 1,000 victory level in high school, only the 5th high school coach to do such, Morgan Wooten of DeMatha Catholic.
And weren't you there for about 120 of them?
Yes, indeed, and he's been there for 121.
Little did he know he had such a spokesman coming out of his program.
Phelps cans the first.
Of course, making free throws important for any club, but Dean Smith, it prepares a defense. You've got to know that the full three-quarter or half is going to come, and you have to position yourself.
10 of 14 from the free throw line is Carolina, and the Tar Heels back on top by 1.
Face guarding, something they haven't shown. They have they have more wrinkles than an elder statesman.
Notice you didn't name one.
I looked at myself.
Nice pass inside to Walker. Score the basket, and the foul to Rodel.
With the ball in the middle of the floor, doing a much better job away from the sideline. The switching, as we noted, you pay for it on occasion. Here's the switch. Rodel trying to get back on Walker as Lynch switches out. He's a guard, smaller, and Walker able to turn the shoulder.
Billy, at least on that sequence, a little subtle change. Not so much dribbling trying to beat the trap as opposed to that initial pass fake and then going.
If it isn't there, they're going to bounce it, but not being near the sideline, they got a Blaine violation. St. Karnisovas was in.
And boy, you know, Arturas Karnisovas upset with himself on that one.
This Randy Weil, a buddy of yours, he had coached for Holland against Arturas and said he didn't play against Seton Hall last year. I'm afraid of him. Dean doesn't know how well he shoots the ball. 1-3-1. He'll trap out of it. Got to tag the shooters, Phelps and Williams. Can't leave him alone over there.
Phelps, Williams, Sullivan, Lynch, and Salvadori, the 5 in blue for Carolina. Lynch caught up under the basket. And they call a traveling on Lynch, who came down with it.
Well, a coming out party for Luther Wright, who hasn't done very much wrong. Attacking from the foul line in that 1-3-1.
Nice play on words. Right, no wrong.
rid of it right away. Caver semi with the ankle, about 80%. He's had a rough year. Not only the ankle, his dad passing away. A very traumatic season, he mentioned to me, and I know to you yesterday as well.
He said he's trying to stay strong through it all, and he's not in shape basketball-wise as he loses the ball. 11 turnovers for the Hall.
Look at the hustle by Kranishevich.
With 28 seconds remaining in the first half. And don't forget, the 9th annual Ford All-Madden team coming your way later today at 5 o'clock. John Madden looking for the unusual as well as the superstar.
And he usually finds it, but Caver may hear some unusual things at halftime with that between-the-leg dribble from his mentor.
Especially if he's not back in shape yet. 15 seconds left in the first half.
What they run out of this is dribble penetration. They went, Seton Hall goes to the zone, and they give that baseline pass.
Blocked by Walker, and this time the foul is called.
Phelps, you think he's grown up? I mean, they're going to run a 1-4 offense with him penetrating. Seton Hall switches to the 1-3-1. They don't address Salvadore, who takes it strong to the 10. And Seton Hall, that happened. I think it was on Walker, wasn't it?
Rodel in to replace Don Williams for Carolina. You talked about Phelps. That was a classic example of how he really has matured as a floor maker.
An extension, what you want from your point guard. Because Salvadore's dad played at South Carolina for Frank McGuire. A name out of the past, and we hope Frank's feeling well. God bless him. 57.
The underground.
Yeah, he did.
Road to North Carolina from New York.
He was so big he didn't use tokens. They just let him on the train in those days. Of course, Dean started as an assistant under Frank and got to know all the people in the Eastern area. Now he recruits nationally, as we both know.
Knotted up at 30 apiece, 7.4 left in the first half.
They might double team the dribbler.
DeHare. And DeHare cans a 2. The Hall ahead by 2 at the half. And that's the end of the first half with the score. Seton Hall 32, North Carolina 30. Andrea Joyce will be along from Bloomington, Indiana with Prudential Securities at the half after this word from your local station. 30 Seton Hall lead, and James Brown along with Bill Raftery. And Bill, that is the biggest lead that Seton Hall has enjoyed, nursing a 2-point lead. But I guess the crucial issue for Seton Hall in the second half is how they're going to manage that trapping defense of Carolina's.
They have a good memory. They remembered last year.
Absolutely.
And I think they've done it with this use of the dribble. They were searching. They found the ability to dribble by. And as you overcompensate, much like in football, you overrun the play and the kick back out for the open shot. And that's been a very effective weapon. It's gotten some easy shots as well.
Well, speaking of shots, let's take a look at where those shots were taken in the first half. North Carolina getting some high percentage shots, Billy, but Seton Hall has limited them to 30% shooting.
Well, the orange are the maids here, and you can see how many in that particular area. The gray are the misses, and it seems to be that both clubs have been able to get the basketball down into that 3-second area and convert. It's a very physical game, and I just think right now, without the foul problems, Seton Hall's Luther Wright might be able to do a little bit more damage down there. Right now, the same idea. The orange are the maids. Both clubs addressing the painted area as a successful venture, not drifting out too often to take the big shot, the big three.
And one nugget also to pass along your way, Dean Smith's Tar Heel squad certainly has done the job in forcing turnovers of Seton Hall. Seton Hall has turned the ball over 14 times that in the first half. And Seton Hall averaging 14 turnovers per game on the season. Carolina protecting the ball much better. And Carolina certainly has done the job by capitalizing on those turnovers. And that certainly explains why the Tar Heels trailing by only 2. And again, Seton Hall limiting teams to 39% shooting with that strong defense. Carolina only 30% from the floor. George Lynch has been the big man for Carolina in the first half. Luther Wright really has played a big game, not so much in terms of inflated statistics, but he has been a presence doing everything.
Solid and defensively three-quartering. And Billy Packer, who is at the ball game, a day off, was just saying that he's the one guy in the country that can match up with Montross pound for pound. Here's the front, and they can't get the good quick support.
And Montross still cannot find the rim.
There's was a tough particular call. Montrose getting number 3, somewhat frustrated as the ball rolled around. And Carolina's been able to come up with those loose balls. That time Luther Wright hung in there, and that's a tough situation for Dean.
And a tough first half and start of the second half for Eric Montross, who has yet to score from the field. 0 for 6.
Carolina man-to-man, face guarding, make the first entry pass awfully tough. There's the perfect trap.
Danny Hurley, Arteris Carnicianus, Terry DeHare, Luther Wright, and Jerry Walker, the 5 in white on the floor for Seton Hall.
Trying to get organized. This is their normal set. High post, rub off, and then a step out, and they switch this play.
And another steal. Number 15 in the way of turnovers for Seton Hall as Lynch adds another steal to his credit.
What happened to bounce passes, James? On the perimeter, it can be effective. Perfect trap, and then the step up. They got to help.
And it goes back to Carolina.
When the ball is brought in one area, and that's a perfect trap situation where Hurley brought the ball at half court, you've got to get somebody in the top of the key and somebody opposite. So he's got 3 options, same side, middle, or deep.
We saw the graphic on the steals. 3 of those 7 steals belong to George Lynch. He came into the game with 38. And Montross still can't find the goal. Oh, my goodness. Now, he's supposed to be given time and distance there. Is he not, Bill?
Well, I like the bailout call, though. It's
okay.
A bang-banger. Seton Hall would be upset, although he's controlling it pretty good. Johnny Gray, a chance for a nickel dimer in the open floor. Why not? He did have to remove the feet. 3 real good officials.
No doubt about that. 32-all ball game here at the Meadowlands Arena. James Brown along with Bill Raftery. Glad to have you along. We've got a ball game here. Seton Hall looking for revenge. An 83-54 spanking at the hands of North Carolina last year right here.
Luther,
finally.
Luther's relaxing. He's been getting the ball this opening half. North Carolina intent on getting it down and punishing Luther. He can't step back.
And yet another turnover, and PJ, not liking what he's seeing, calls timeout. The Hall will talk about it. Now trailing by 2. 46 left in the ball game. 34-32, North Carolina on top. Seton Hall has not done the job its first 4 possessions here in the second half, having turned the ball over 4 times.
Empty trips, no shots, and Montrose doing some damage in the low area. Luther's got to get involved defensively. They've been letting him play him alone. They may have to assist him.
Lynch snapped and slapped by Jerry Walker, but they call the foul. And Billy, I recall from our NBA days, so often the officials calling fouls on sound as well as sight, and that seemed to be all ball.
Well, yours were flesh-ridden sounds, not those little slaps, but Walker with the quick hands. Lynch on the inbounds there trying to take Walker with the dribble. JB, if people watching would say, well, hasn't Seton Hall seen a trap before? We both know yesterday for 2.5 hours they went through all the traps trying to diffuse Dean Smith's defense. You can't get people to bounce, be aggressive, be as tall as Carolina in practice and be effective. And they throw so many wrinkles. If you don't cut each time to the proper spot, the advantage flows to Carolina.
Lynch with 16 points in the afternoon for North Carolina.
A shot.
Basket.
A shot. They haven't been able to get very many. Big back screen for the reverse. Good job by Montross. He's more active.
Well, that's one thing Montross always is relentless. Rodel. And Rodel scores. Give a little credit to Montross, who actually put an elbow as a part of that pick on Terry DeHare. First basket of the afternoon for Rodel.
Look at Montross complimenting his partner to switch out to take away the 3 and then back on Luther.
Carolina back in front, 38-34. Now, this is the kind of pace that Seton Hall likes.
Oh, they just ran their stuff beautifully here.
By Luther Wright.
Luther, just a gorgeous hold off on the shot, had Montross on his back.
4 of 4 from the floor for Luther.
On the bounce, a little chest number by the hair.
Little chest number, huh?
Little 3 and just terrific offensive basketball. What happened, Montross had fronted Luther earlier, and on the shot trying to check anybody in the area, Luther wisely went to the tin.
Don Leahy in the game for Seton Hall, replacing Terry DeHare.
John and Kernishevich, John Leahy and Barters have not been able to get shots to quick this out by Carolina.
Kernishevich with the rebound, snatching it away from Lynch. Caber, Kernishevich, Walker, Leahy, and Wright, the 5 for Seton Hall. Block, it's Carolina ball.
Nice play by Montross.
This is Phelps. Over to Williams. Caber.
And they said it was deflected. A play on. PJ holding up the break.
A gracious call, by the way, Billy.
You like that one, huh? And inside, it is terrific the way both teams are moving their feet and their bodies. And folks, it's not easy. You can't be lazy for either coach and play that kind of post defense.
Foul called on Sullivan that time. Near the conclusion of today's game, we will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the general scholarship fund of each school.
They got the lob if they wanted it. Williams is matched up on Luther.
Leahy for 3.
It must be the haircut. He got it for free for obvious reasons.
Had to be from a teammate.
He can stroke it with bad eyes.
Hopefully that bad eye teammate's not on the floor.
Phelps does a nice job getting guys the ball, doesn't he? And he can be effective as an offensive weapon. Nice look here.
Good patience by Carolina getting the ball to Lynch inside, and Lynch is awfully tough along the baseline.
Well, some guys need a roadmap down around the basket just to find their way around. This guy has a feel beyond most. Doesn't have to shoot it deep to kill you.
He could do it in the dark. George Lynch trying to become the first Tar Heel player to lead the team in rebounding 3 consecutive seasons, averaging double-digit rebounds, 15 points, 10 rebounds a game.
Dean Smith has a great rapport with ex-players. One of the reasons he's able to get kids and have them fall in love with the Tar Heel country. I talked to Rick Fox, who hadn't been playing for the Celtics, and I said, I want to ask you one question. Have you heard from the coach? He said yesterday. He knows when they're down and they need support. There's Billy Cunningham, an old pal of both of ours, talks so highly of what he's done for his alma mater and for the kids who've graduated, not necessarily the basketball players.
The Word family has a real meeting with the program, and a real serious move by Jerry Walker.
Now, the Walker family would like that move, huh?
The Hall on top by 1 with 14:30 left in the ball game.
Great hustle here by Leahy.
And the arrow heads the other way.
Both clubs showing that they have people on the Pines who can get up and contribute. And there's a great look at that do.
That hairdo you're talking about?
Either on the lawn too long or somebody trying to get even.
I guess somebody on the team majoring in...
Not architecture, I hope.
I was going to say, an aspiring barber. Right, with the left hand, rebounded by Lynch. Only the second rebound this afternoon for George Lynch. Averaging 10, as I mentioned, so he's got a ways to go.
Salvadori doing a nice job as well, and he's got a little low post game. Now Luther's late, and they address it.
Salvadori, nice touch on the jump hook. The junior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Said he got an opportunity in high school to meet David Robinson as Navy was recruiting his brother Chris, and that's his hero.
Seton LaSalle. Friend of mine, son Kevin Kerwin. Went the Holy Cross there. They're a little rattled with the ball, some of the small forwards.
Karnishevas.
That's the way to get composure, huh? Throw it off your teammate, pick it up.
But Billy, if you could have seen the look on Karnishevas' face when he threw the pass, he's like, oh, why am I throwing it to Luther?
Well, he would have to answer to the bearded one, the kiss by the Lithuanian Olympian.
Oh, but I got it back.
You run them down when you're going to get a earful.
It was, in basketball terminology, a little friendly backside help on that pass, and Luther got it back to him.
And how often, too, does a foul right you? You know, the little chest
Foul, you see him taking a seat on the bench. Third team foul. This ties the biggest lead, and that, ladies and gentlemen, only a 2-point lead.
Nice back screen.
Good pass also.
They hadn't run that all game, and usually you expect big guys, they just want to lay them out of that. Cleared the left. Phelps, an easy one.
When we watched practice yesterday, Dean did not want to show that part of the offense.
He said, don't throw the loop.
So many people watching.
Well, he's heard about you.
Karnishevas. And Dean has heard about him and his three-point shooting.
Everybody gets a lot of ink on this Seton Hall team. He's the glue. 6'8", guards people extremely well. Unselfish, great percentage shooter.
Steal, the Hall.
Carolina's got to get something out of this end. You might see some more doubles if they get the line support. He can shoot it.
Walker with the rebound. Nice pass to Griffin and score.
Got to get the big guy on the box. Walker at a disadvantage.
Sullivan. Foul. Karnishevas. Every personal on Arturas Karnishevas.
You know what happened there, JB? Everybody excited. Moved the trap on Sullivan and moved Arturas Karnishevas into the shooter.
Griffin takes a seat for Seton Hall. DeHare back in. As Pat Sullivan, the local kid, takes a trip to the free throw line. There's that hairdo you were talking about. And Billy, a little bit out of alignment. You're right.
Well, I would imagine that's going to hurt his social life.
Unless he wears a big hat.
A big hat, huh? A little off-kilter. But Carolina, with Walker guarding Montross, certainly has an advantage when they come back after this timeout.
Sullivan's 2 free throws make it a 3-point game. 9 to North Carolina's 2. And a score of 49-46, 11:59 left in the ball game. James Brown along with Bill Raftery. A rematch of last year's ACC Big East Challenge. And Seton Hall looking for a little revenge, having been beaten 83-54 last year. The Hall on top now, 49-46.
They got Leahy on Montrose. If they switch back, now they switch back. I think one of the few open court opportunities. Not a good pass to Luther by DeHare. Carolina's got to get it out of their defense. Bill Guthridge, the assistant, long time with Dean, said they count on that every night. Seton Hall stepping it up as well.
And a foul called on Enric Rodel, his second. Fourth team foul on Carolina.
Montrose not getting as many opportunities maybe as they would like, or missing opportunities when he gets them. The Dre being the misses. So Luther Wright and company doing a nice job on him.
And PJ doing a nice job of spelling Luther Wright. Right back in the lineup now. Caver and DeHare, the expected starting backcourt at the top of the season until Caver hurt that ankle in practice.
Seton Hall got a lot off the dribble.
The fans want a double dribble. Phelps over to Lynch, and Lynch is fouled by DeHare. 4th personal foul on DeHare. And Billy, I was about to mention a few moments ago, it seems as if DeHare really has been pressing. I know he talked so much about his mother, Greta's birthday, and he wanted to go out and have a good game for her and to make up for last year's 3 of 22 shooting, but really pressing a little too hard.
Only a mother would understand this kind of trapping and pressing and forgive their son. Here's the tag at the end of it, but everything today and most days for Carolina stems from their trapping, their overplaying, their support in the back defensively.
And PJ driving a point home.
In case they didn't hear the sermon this morning. Giving another.
And the trio he was addressing, DeHare, Danny Hurley, and Arturas Karnisovas. Lynch rims the second one.
I started to mention PJ got a lot out of the dribble late in the first half. And right now they're struggling in their half-court stuff. You'll notice all the overplays.
Leahy,
Great
for
call.
3.
Great call, cross-court. Diffuse the pressure. Even though they get motion for everybody, Montross has got to touch a little bit. Or Lynch.
Boy, Lynch is just something else. He really steps up big in big games. Lynch is simply on fire. 23 points, 8 of 12 from the floor. And this is Phelps.
Head on head, maybe one of the better defenders in the country. They don't have to rotate some nights the way he plays a guy.
Phelps second on the team in steals coming into the game.
What a spot to pick the ball up.
Adrian Griffin, the freshman.
See how they shut off the next logical pass receiver?
Griffin, nice pass in right, who normally has good soft hands, a little too soft that time. But you know what? In all fairness, the pass could have been a little higher,
That's
too.
right. He had to look down. He never got vision on the basketball.
Underscore that point.
It's not easy. You just beat the trap. Look at them collapse. And right here, Luther doesn't compliment. A nice-looking dish with good eye-hand coordination.
John Leahy takes a seat as Danny Hurley comes back in for Seton Hall. Montross, Rodel, Lynch, Donald Williams, and Brian Reese, the 5 in blue for North Carolina.
This game a great barometer for both coaches to find out how good their club is, how good they can become. And this is a nice-looking lob and the collapsing defense. And that's because Luther's all over his right side. He can't bulk up, bang him, and get the ball at the same time. He struggled with that post, and he's terrific at begging for the ball.
9:19 left in the ball game. 52-51, Seton Hall on top.
Here's a perfect trap situation. Montross up on the wing. Nice dribble through.
Comes through with the basket. Caver.
Welcome back, Brian Caver. With the injury, of course, with his dad's passing away, it has not been easy. And Caver now trying to immerse himself in basketball. An answer of sorts with that deuce and the possibility of 3.
As you mentioned, Billy, suffered that grade 2 sprain, they call it, of the left ankle in practice. December the 8th, missed 9 games. Well, PJ says he's not in shape, but Luther Wright can't get the follow, but he gets the rebound.
Nice kick out as well.
And a fresh 45.
Luther physically should be able to take Kevin Salvadore if they can get it down to him.
Early no foul call, picked up by Adrian Griffin, and Griffin can't get the roll. Rebounded by George Lynch. 3rd rebound for Lynch.
James, they are teeing off and they don't respond defensively to Hall. Scored a goal. Carolina, every opportunity is looking to punish you. If you have a lapse, Luther the first guy down, and that should not happen for Seton Hall. Great run.
So credit the basket to Pat Sullivan. Sullivan with 6 points, and that's his first field goal.
Seton Hall's been looking to get threes if they beat the pressure. Sometimes that may be the best shot you get with this rotating type of defense.
Haber and Leahy in the backcourt. Walker and Karnisovas at the forwards. Luther Wright in the center spot. Karnisovas kisses it. Rebounded by Wright, and Wright is fouled. Well, Billy, I tell you, there doesn't look to be anything wrong with the physical condition of Luther Wright, who says he gave up all junk food. And boy, his teammates were teasing him, saying he could put it away.
He's finished dinner an hour earlier now, since he gives up the junk food. Karnisovas with great use of the dribble.
Stay tuned for Game 2 of today's NCAA basketball doubleheader here on CBS Sports. Ohio State, ranked 24th in the country, is playing Indiana, the #2 team. Indiana undefeated in Big Ten play, led by, of course, Albert Chaney. Greg Gumbel and Al McGuire will call the action for you. That'll be coming up next.
Albert Chaney having one of those years you wish you had. Beautiful performance, night in, night out. Big game player for him. Al will enjoy him.
Got a break in the action. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this message. And a word from your local Sands Arena includes one Billy Packer, who called a game in Las Vegas yesterday, here today. And I guess Billy may be surveying the landscape here since the 1996 Final Four will be held right here.
Yes, and also the World Cup. Of course, Billy, I know, didn't pay for that ticket.
Oh, well, that means he must have gone to see Bob Mulcahy, the chief executive officer. Billy knows them all.
Well, he had a tough one yesterday to call. I think Georgetown will be better later, but Rolly's guys ready. And we had a chance at halftime to talk to Billy, who sees Carolina quite a bit. And he likes this group on the floor right now for Carolina because Williams can drill it, gives them a few more options. Seton Hall 1-3-1 now, off the timeout.
55-53, 7:20 left in the ball game. Seton Hall on top.
Now Caver down there as well. He's going to have to check Montrose on a shot. There's Caver with Montrose. They should stay
7
on the
seconds
side.
on the shot clock. Down to 3. Williams. Rebounded by Reese.
The zone did not collapse. You've been playing man. Sometimes you forget your responsibilities. They didn't come down from the foul line or the wings.
That basket tied the game by Reese. White with the left hand, rebounded by Williams. Knocked out of bounds, and it goes back to Carolina.
Terrific atmosphere. Crowd enjoyed it. Up on the call. Good call by the officials. Because Vino, this club, at least to me, has more enthusiasm after it more than some of the Carolina teams, even though they win those 25, 26, 27, get to the NCAA every year.
Every year, my
This
goodness.
group seems hungry, or hungrier. Karnisovas in the back.
And Karnisovas will be saddled with his 4th personal foul. Henrik Rodel in for Donald Williams, Terry DeHare and Adrian Griffin in for Karnisovas and John Leahy for Seton Hall. 16 foul for the Hall, 6 for UNC. The next foul for both teams, 1-1. Reese, Montross, and Lynch, the 5 in blue for Carolina.
Walker's going to have to pay attention to Lynch. He's been a killer for Carolina. Nice screen by him. And they get Luther on the bang and one.
A lapse on the part of Luther Wright, and Eric Montross makes him pay.
PJ wanted this one on the floor, but a nice cross screen by a guy who's done it with baskets generally, but their activity here frees it, and then he is able to convert, but the important factor there was Lynch and his activity.
his 8th point, averaging 15 on the season.
Contain your guy and deny the next pass. They got the hole on Reese over the top.
That'll be number 1.
Now, he likes these guys, man. I just want to let you know, JB. I had a coach that hollered at me. I wasn't sure of my first name for 4 years.
Your name was a little different.
A little different than the one that I was baptized with. But the Heron Walker in particular, it's like water off a duck's back when he gets after them.
And he didn't call you doctor, huh?
No. He didn't call me doctor for long. Out of Kansas, the Wichita guy. Good shooter, we mentioned earlier, has shown some offensive rebounding skills. Great stroke.
George Lynch with his 4th rebound. As I mentioned, averaging 10.
Baseline rubs, it looks like. Same players before, and they get the switch to Walker.
Looking for Montross on the inside. Well, you talk about PJ's intense style up in the face of his players. It certainly has paid off.
Can't argue with that.
Good numbers indeed.
NCAA was something I attended alone when I was coaching. PJ is encumbered with a team. They've been going this baseline little rub effectively.
And going right back to Montross, back outside to Reese. And the rebound, a strong one by Jerry Walker.
And look at the nice rotation by Rodel. They read things extremely well on the defensive end, Carolina.
A 3-point Carolina lead, 5:16 left in the ball game. Phelps. And do they call a travel?
Well, they're saying the ball was loose. Key period right now. In the open floor. Left maybe too early. Thought he could have gotten more out of it. Thought he slapped it before he came down.
Oh, my goodness. That was below the basket, Billy. That block was actually
on the way down as well.
Yeah. But they credit the basket to Carolina, giving the Tar Heels a 5-point lead. And Billy, again, that ball was below the basket. So Carolina gets a bonus 2. And this ties Carolina's biggest lead. Karnishov is fouled by Derek Phelps.
You got to hustle, but you got to be careful. Because Seton Hall has to make free throws if they're going to give up fouls like the last 2. The other thing, Seton Hall not known for great full court pressure, so they got to keep in touch. They're not a trapping, rotating.
Now, when you say keep in touch, you mean?
Well, score-wise, they've got to be hanging around. The other they've got to address defensively is how Montrose on the screen away is to be played. They haven't done a good job on it the last 3 trips.
Seton Hall trailing by 5. Karnisovas, an 81% free throw shooter. Bangs it first, and don't forget, coming up next, it'll be Ohio State and Indiana, live from Bloomington. Greg Gumbel, Al McGuire, and Andrea Joyce will be bringing you that action.
They got a violation by Luther.
Boy, and that's the second one this afternoon on Seton Hall. The first one was on Karnisovas. This time it's Luther.
Well, mistakes at this stage of the game,
crucial.
More obvious, they're crucial. You can't turn it over, can't give up opportunities to ring the bell.
Especially when you had a chance to cut the lead to 3.
And against a club like this, JB. Nice.
Lynch, who loves that part of the territory. Lynch.
The game is getting ratty, and North Carolina, the rattier of the 2. They're digging and scratching, and the hole not as involved.
25 points on the afternoon for George Lynch. Karnisovas for 3.
Big time basket. Performance. They emptied the backside, called by Dean Smith. The lob ineffective. The big guy with the hand up, deflecting. they give this to Montrose or not?
I think Sullivan will find out.
They almost
they caught it on Montrose.
Well, this is just going. Look at the backside is empty. The turn by Montrose, that is a tough pass to make continually. And Luther stepping in front, knocking it down.
The foul given to Montrose, and that is his 4th personal foul. 3:27 left in the ball game. Luther only a 52% free throw shooter. Nothing the back of the iron.
Nothing
Phelps.
wrong with the stroke, JB.
And backspin looked good. Yeah. A little too hard. 3-point Carolina lead. 3:15 left in the ball game.
Nice support here. He does find people. The Harris to stay home on Rodel.
Walker's got to do a job on Lynch out front. Instead, Luther Wright with a poor job defensively inside as he picks up the foul. Montrose will take a trip to the free throw line. 3rd personal on Luther Wright. 17 fouls for Montrose.
James Brown, you are tough on the big guy.
Oh, that was true,
defensively, though. Well, how hard, as you know from playing, when you're continually getting a screen coming at you, you've got to step, slide, get back in position in 3/4. It's continual against Carolina, and he was trying, but you're right. When you're late like that, you usually get the nickel dimer.
But in all fairness, Luther Wright certainly has stepped up big in this ball game, all around play. The future ought to be very bright for him, as well as that young man right there.
Eric combs the hair with a wash rag. Nice touch, huh?
That it is. 3:01 left in the game. Basketball, and Billy Raftery, makes no difference who's in the White House. He's consistent.
The only thing that the Presidents have to worry about is staying in there longer. You know, Dean's going to be around and he's going to win. Long-time success story. Of course, Bill Guthridge alongside him most of those years. That's amazing. I guess they have to consult him whether to run or not.
No doubt about it. Well, Bill Clinton was at a game in Carolina 2 years ago. Well, the president, of course.
In Carolina, they say he can walk on water. I think he just knows where the rocks are.
Just the rocks. 2:48 left in the ball game. 64-59. Carolina on top. DeHare, Caber, Carnicius, Walker, and Wright, the 5 in white for Seton Hall. More straight up man-to-man now. There's the switch, and it costs them. And Walker goes up strong for the basket.
Montrose with the 4. I felt they would stay with him late in the game. It's a pressure game. You also have Salvadori to back you up. Dean Smith decided to go with him, but he didn't come over aggressively. Inside screens have been effective to get Montrose the basketball. He's dead right now.
Cross scored the basket and the foul on Jerry Walker.
He just shredded the defense. Talk about force and physical play. First the hold-off. We mentioned Luther getting caught a little more. And now Walker, who's no lightweight or flyweight himself, but Eric presenting big time and getting it up on the glass with about 400 pounds, 2 on each arm.
No matter how tough the ball game, Montrose, same facial expression, and he's dropped in 13 after scoring only 3 in the first half.
A different player, and in my mind, a different team. This is as good as there is in the country, this Carolina team.
6-point Carolina lead, 1:57 left. Kevin Salvadori in place of Montrose to keep him from getting that 5th personal foul.
And they switch again. Nice rebound. Both guys up big.
And now Montrose will come back in for the offense.
Dean figured, well, he backed off on that last one when they got the layup. Little yo-yo job, possession error, Carolina.
Montrose back in for Salvadori. Montrose with 4 personal fouls. Has fouled out once this year, that against Clemson. You know, this has been a very friendly court, a good home away from home for Carolina. Lifetime, they're 7-2 right here at the Meadowlands.
They don't have many bad arenas, do they?
You're right about that.
Nor bad teams. They'll use a little bit of clock unless you give up an open opportunity. I see Phil Ford over there. This was his time of the game, wasn't it?
No doubt about it. One of the best at it. Inside the Montrose.
Nice reset, though.
Rebounded by Walker. The Hall trailing by 6, 1:15 left in the game.
Oh, miscommunication. Karnisovas going through. Caver thinking he was going to pop out as the Hall gets the timeout.
Wants to talk it over with the Hall trailing by 6. One timeout. Carolina with 3. Both teams in a 1-and-1 bonus situation. Possession arrow. Seton Hall. And Carolina has done the job defensively, scoring points off of turnovers and enjoy a 67-61 lead and the ball.
Bruce Amberger, who scouts for PJ assistant coach, he said our offense has to handle the half-court and full-court pressure. That was in their scouting report, and they did not address it, and that can wear on you as it has at this point.
Leahy picks up the foul as Kevin Salvadori and Henrik Rodel come in, replacing Montross and Williams. And don't forget, coming up next, the second half of our CBS doubleheader, Ohio State and Indiana. And of course, I will certainly be watching to see who John Madden picks on his all-Madden team.
A highlight. Oh my goodness, 61% coming in, and Brian just pulling the arm a little bit. And that should tune the Seton Hall kids into be ready for the long rebound. What a comeback.
Makes a second. Carolina 12 of 14 at the free throw line in the second half.
Now, a little more head-up defense by Carolina the last 3 minutes, forcing Seton Hall to use the clock as they try and get quick goals.
Looking for the 3. Karnisovas, Leahy, and DeHare. Take the inside basket instead from DeHare. A 5-point ball game with 45 seconds left in the contest.
Trying to stop it, and they can't. Can't get close enough. Spreading the floor.
And a foul called on Brian Caver. And that'll send Phelps to the free throw line. Double bonus, as that is the 10th team foul on PJ's squad. Well, the Pirates have been undefeated here at the Meadowlands this season, 10-0. And if the score holds up, this will be the first loss here at the Meadowlands. And a brick by Phelps.
Yeah, and the chuckle, well, he loves his guys. I mean, really, he criticizes and does it and teaches in such a humane way. Always behind, very positive, upbeat individual.
32 seconds left. The Hall down by 5. Leahy for 3.
You get the timeout. The thing Seton Hall has done well has had the defense run a long distance to try and negate shots by use of the dribble. Now on the bench, Craig Dirksen with the timeout. You talk about Dean Smith stretching games. PJ, an up-and-coming Dean Smith stretching this one.
Seton Hall, no timeouts remaining. 27.2 seconds left in the ball game.
Denial, and they've got to give one as quickly as possible. They got an open one. Nice back screen.
Four-point game with 15 seconds left. DeHare.
Three-pointer.
Leahy. And Caver can't get it.
Can't stop the clock.
And that'll be it. As North Carolina, for the second year in a row, knocks off Seton Hall. The score 70-66.
Dino's defense,
had won 19 straight at home over the last 2 years. 10-0 here this season. They lose their first. Carolina improves its record here at the Meadowlands to 8-2. And we'll come back with closing thoughts to the Brendan Byrne Arena after this.
And let's go there now to Greg Gumbel.
Help us win games.
You can get free rubbing off Montross, can't you?
Yes, definitely. Eric is a big body in there. He draws a lot of attention, And we have Kevin Sevendora, who's been playing well, and he draws a lot of attention also, which frees me up a lot.
Thank you very much, George.
All right, and the one thing is Eric Montross did not give up either. Congratulations to Coach Smith and to George Lynch. All right.
Coach,
all right, folks.
Carolina, at worst, the second favorite to be #1 next week, tried to keep their H attached against 19th-rated Florida State. Carolina's big man, Eric Montross, in early foul trouble, and State took advantage. Rodney DeBard blocks Henrik Rodel. Sam Cassell passes back to DeBard for the jam, and it's a 19-2 Florida State run. Oops, droops, loops, then Charlie Ward throwing a pass. Carolina stunned. Those people had not painted the faces. That was just a reaction to the game. Then Carolina missed the first 13 three-pointers, but in the second half, down 21. Rodel, Lynch, Williams with a 3. Carolina minus 18. Rodel again. Carolina on a 34-12 run. Well, so what? They're still that. FSU 77-76, minute 40 to play. George Lynch off his own steal with the slam. Pat Kennedy is speechless. And well, he should have been. There have not been many games like that one in college basketball of late, as the Heels go to 6-0 in the ACC. And Florida State, which had hopes of knocking off Duke and Carolina in the same week, instead, they're probably all still with their mouths agape after that game. As Steppenwolf sang, and you remember them, the guards.
They've never lost to Clemson in Chapel Hill. Henrik Rodel lobs to Brian Reese and says, let's keep it that way. Second half, George Lynch to Derek Phelps, and the Heels led by 13. Chris Whitney had a great game. That's Chris Whitney right there, and that one's nothing but the bottom of the net. Chris Whitney again for 3. Good Whitney again. 25 feet and soft as church music. 8 of 10 from threes. The lead down to 5. 4 corners. Derek Phelps says, let's put this one out of reach, guys. Tar Heels scored 10 of the last 12 points. They win by 13. They are now 39-0 against Clemson in Chapel Hill. Whitney with the 8 threes, one shy of Dennis Scott's ACC record, which also took place against Carolina. Carolina now 10-2 in conference play, and Eric Montross had 22 points. 11th ranked Vandy in Baton Rouge tonight.